organizations registered some form of attack on them. It got so bad in 2010 that non-Jews in Malmo volunteered to escort Jewish people to services in Malmo because of the upsurge in anti-Semitism. And let me, one other very quick thing.
I mean, you've had a good say, and I've got to be fair here. Leila Naragi,
hello
what do you say
guys,
to
welcome to my YouTube channel, the TV reality show. Yesterday, I will be checking on Douglas Murray. Don't deny the facts. Douglas Murray schools Swedish politicians on immigration in Sweden. Yes, without wasting much time, let's go to the video.
Douglas Murray has never been one to shy away from telling the truth as it is. In this video, he confronts a Swedish politician who is in denial about the immigration disaster happening in Sweden right now. Douglas Murray does not hit around the bush when it comes to the truth and rightly educates the Swedish politician. Watch.
The Swedish government is very reluctant to admit to any downsides of its own migration policy, and particularly the migration it had in 2015. But there are very obvious, huge downsides, because Sweden, among other things, is not a country which needs an unskilled labour force, which, what's more, doesn't speak Swedish.
What was raised is the matter of evidence. What is the evidence?
Well, first of all, if I can say so, the rape statistics in Sweden that have been cited are familiar with the rape statistics across other countries that have seen similar forms of migration. Danish authorities and the Norwegian authorities have recorded similar things, which is a very large.
Down by ethnicity, so we don't know.
This is part. This is part of the problem.
Well, let me get Leila Naragi to respond to that.
It's again a lot of lies and rumors going about when it's about, for example, rape that was raised here. It's difficult to compare the statistics because in Sweden, for example, many crimes that in other countries are labeled as bodily harm or assault are in Sweden actually labeled as rape. Also how you count it. Because if a woman goes to the police and report that her husband or boyfriend has raped her every night for 1 year, in Sweden that is counted as 365 offences, while in many other countries it's counted as one.
You know, we can argue on the statistics, but something's going wrong.
Douglas Murray's critique of Sweden's immigration policies highlights a controversial issue in European politics: the consequences of mass immigration on societal stability and public safety. Sweden, often celebrated for its generous welfare systems and open border policy, has become a focal point in debates over the impact of immigration. Over the last decade, Sweden has experienced an unprecedented influx of immigrants, primarily from countries with significantly different cultural, economic, and political backgrounds. This rapid demographic change has posed several challenges. First, there has been a noticeable strain on public services. Sweden's welfare system, which is designed to provide comprehensive support from healthcare to education, has been under pressure due to the sudden increase in demand. Reports from Sweden's municipalities indicate growing concerns about the sustainability of providing high-quality public services amidst rising costs associated with the growing immigrant population. Secondly, integration has been a significant challenge. Many immigrants arriving in Sweden come from war-torn countries and carry the trauma and challenges of displacement. The cultural differences and barriers, such as language, education level, and differing social norms, make the integration process cumbersome. This has sometimes resulted in segregated communities where unemployment is high and economic integration is slow, exacerbating social and economic disparities. Crime has been another critical issue linked to the recent waves of immigration. While it is crucial to avoid blanket stereotypes, police statistics and reports have shown an increase in certain types of crime in areas with high levels of recent immigrants. This includes a rise in gang violence and incidents of rioting in several Swedish cities, which have sparked debates about law enforcement and security policies.
First of all, the Balkan refugees into Sweden in the 90s actually did bring a lot of problems with them. Sweden did, for the first time, see serious ethnic gang rivalries, as you know. There was an upsurge in gang-related violence that's gone on since. I would also add this. The situation in Malmo, in particular, it is exaggerated by some people. There's no doubt about that. I've been there many times. It's undoubtedly exaggerated by some. It's also vastly understated by the Swedish authorities. I come back to this issue, if I may. take just before this recent influx. In 2010, 1 in 10 Jews in Malmo, of the remaining Jewish populations, registered some form of attack on them. It got so bad in 2010 that non-Jews in Malmo volunteered to escort Jewish people to services in Malmo because of the upsurge in anti-Semitism. And let me, one other very quick thing.
I mean, you've had a good say, and I've got to be fair here. Leila Naragi, what do you say to that?
I say that there are people trying to frame our country in a certain way to push their own agenda. I regret, for example, that President Trump is trying to slander our country.
No, I know you do that, but what's your answer to the specific point on Malmo?
I'm saying that if you speak to people in Malmö and also to different congregations, they say that themselves are working together with authorities to improve this. And I say again that there are a lot of people trying to spread rumors and lies that are not...
Your situation is very like the situation we had in Britain when we had these situations in Rotherham and elsewhere. 1,400 girls were raped in Rotherham before the authorities, by which I mean the local police, the local council and others, even admitted it was going on. That happened in Britain in the last decade. Similar phenomenon. An upsurge in particularly sexual and other forms of violence, and then total denial by an entire political class is now something, just as we had it in Britain, that is now happening in Sweden. I see it in Swedish authorities, I see it in the denial that comes up, I see it in the desire to laugh and dismiss Trump, but he's not on to nothing. And that is a very painful thing for any society to admit to, and I don't blame you for wanting to protect your society, but honestly, it's much easier to admit to it now.
Politically, Sweden's immigration policy has led to a shift in the electoral landscape. The rise of the Sweden Democrats, a party known for its critical stance on immigration, reflects a broader shift in public sentiment. This political shift is not unique to Sweden, but is seen across Europe, where concerns over immigration are influencing voter behavior and reshaping political priorities. Critics like Douglas Murray argue that these issues are often downplayed by political authorities due to political correctness and a reluctance to acknowledge the challenges posed by mass immigration. This reluctance can prevent the development of effective policies that address the real issues of integration and societal cohesion. The fear of causing offense or being labeled as hateful can stifle honest debate and impede the development of effective policies. In the case of Sweden, and similarly in other European countries, this has sometimes resulted in a generalized portrayal of immigration issues where any negative outcomes are downplayed or ignored. Politicians may use vague or overly positive descriptions of the immigration situation to avoid controversy, which prevents the public from fully understanding the scope and nature of the challenges being faced. For example, discussions about the increase in crime rates in certain areas with high immigrant populations or the difficulties in integrating immigrants into the labor market are often met with accusations of stigmatizing immigrants. This creates a chilling effect where discussing real problems becomes politically risky. The result can be a lack of targeted interventions that might address the root causes of these issues, such as providing better language training, improving education access, or increasing police presence in high-crime areas. The broader implication of this avoidance is a disconnection between the public's perception of immigration and the reality, as reported by law enforcement and economic data. Without the ability to discuss and critique freely, even if it involves uncomfortable truths, societies cannot effectively solve their most pressing problems. While the intent behind political correctness may have been aimed at fostering a more tolerant society, its application can sometimes hinder open and honest discussion. This is particularly evident in the context of immigration in Sweden, where the fear of offending can prevent necessary conversations about integration, community cohesion, and public safety. Addressing these challenges openly and constructively is crucial for creating policies that truly benefit both immigrant populations and the host society.
Welcome back. Yes, from what I know about Sweden, Sweden is one of the most peaceful countries in whole Europe. Yes, I said Sweden is one of the most accommodated countries in whole Europe, and low crime rates, like those things happening in some part of the Europe, you can never hear it in Sweden. Sweden is very peaceful. I'm only hearing about crime for the first time in Sweden, because Sweden has a low crime rate in whole of Europe. Yes, I don't know much about Sweden, but a little, I have never heard any violent or fight or war near Sweden before. So talking about immigrants, what causes the immigrant? What is the cause of immigrant? That is what I want to also know. What is the cause? Why do people leave their country to another country? I want somebody to answer that question to me. Yes, oh guys, subscribe for my YouTube channel for more video like this, because I'll be bringing you more video like this. See you next time. Bye.